much relieved that what happened earlier was finally settled. In the crowd, Mohan spotted Lin. He checked him all around then and asked if he was all right. Lin said he was fine when he then inquired about his sister's well-being. Both knew each other were safe. His sister got to the point. Turned out, she was leaving soon and wanted to say goodbye. Lin was a bit surprised, especially with the challenge match coming up tomorrow. He wondered if his sister still participating. Mohan chuckled and playfully remarked that she is nearly level 45, and she has no plan to attend and wants to leave the spotlight to Lin. Then she waved goodbye and slowly walked away. Seconds after, Yi tiptoed up behind Lin, shyly clutching his arm and watching her sister's departing figure. Curious, Lin asked why she hadn't come over earlier. He would have had the chance to introduce her to his sister. While blushing, Yi confessed she wasn't mentally prepared yet. Lin, ever the dense guy, wondered why meeting his sister required any preparation. Either way, he didn't dwell on it, turned around, and asked Yi what had happened outside while he was teleported to the Divine Tower. Only then did Lin learn that the Abyss had sent out both Succubus and a Flame Demon Lord, but they were intercepted by White Divine and Yi's grandfather, Old Ning. At the same time, the top-level professionals from Xiajing Academy had also teleported to the city, and soon joined the fight. They managed to either slain or capture members of the demon worshippers. Yi then recalled that another much more powerful person had appeared, seemingly even more powerful than White Divine. The moment the person appeared, the two demon lords quickly fled as if facing something terrifying. Just as they were about to be killed, Succubus even used her own blood to summon a portal connected to the Abyss, and within, a powerful demon blocked the mysterious person's attack. Things got a bit complicated, and they wanted to avoid a battle over the city that could endanger innocents. Because of this, the two demon lords got away, and even the senator was dragged away with them. Lin was surprised to hear about the Flame Demon Lord. He wondered if it was the same one they had encountered before, which Yi confirmed. Lin was slightly taken aback, not expecting that neither White Divine nor Old Ning could subdue the demon lords quickly. It seemed the demon lords were much more powerful than he had once thought, but Lin wasn't necessarily worried. He still had the teleportation stone, and was confident that he would someday finish them himself. Later in the night, we returned to White Divine's small courtyard. Manhwa sat on a stone bench, leisurely sipping his freshly brewed tea. Just as he took his first sip, footsteps sounded not far from him. White Divine and Old Ning strode in, both appearing to be in a not very good mood. Manhwa asked if they handled everything. White Divine, somewhat resentfully, gulped down a cup of tea and revealed that Blackfire had intervened, rescuing the two demon lords. Old Ning was even more upset, loudly cursing that had it not been for Blackfire, he would have surely killed the Flame Demon Lord. It was clear that the two of them had some really strong beef. Manhwa looked a bit surprised since he knew the old man was there too. So what happened? White Divine let out a sigh and explained that Succubus had used her blood to open a portal to the Abyss. If it weren't for their hesitation to cause collateral damage above the city, they could have captured the two demon lords, and it didn't matter if Blackfire intervened or not. Things didn't go as planned, but at least they racked out many rats, and even exposed the senator. However, this isn't all good news, and Old Ning's brow further. The fact that a senator, one of the top council members, and highest echelons of human society, had turned against them, was deeply concerning. It raised the alarm that there might be other spies and traitors within their ranks. Manhwa's expression grew more serious. He stroked his beard, and told them that he would thoroughly investigate this matter, and it was time for a purge within the empire. The next day arrived quickly, and Nanhong City returned to its usual state as if the events of the previous day had never happened. The arena was packed as usual, but the buzz among the crowd was all about the surprise attack by the demon worshippers during the night. Due to this, the format of the solo competitions had changed. Other than the result, no one had the chance to see the competition. Thus, the anticipation for today's challenge matches was higher than usual. This challenge match was also the final event in the professional competition series. The rules of the challenge match were simple. Anyone could participate, and if a contestant succeeded in 5 rounds, they would receive substantial rewards. However, the challenge matches were easier said than done. Here's the key. As it turned out, participants had to challenge opponents 5 levels higher than themselves, and the level differences increased as the round progressed. In the second round, the gap would increase to 10 levels, and in the third round, to 15 levels, and so on. So most lower-level professionals might end up going up against high-level professionals who have gone through their second-class transfer. So for someone like Lin, who's level 27 right now, if he successfully passed the 4th round, he would encounter a level 52 professional in the 5th round. Over the centuries, only a handful of prodigies had completed the 2nd round, and only a handful had ever succeeded in the 3rd round. The crazy thing is, no one had ever completed the 4th round. Therefore, the rewards were also very generous. Passing the 1st round grants a brilliant basic skill scroll, and for the 2nd round, it will be a brilliant intermediate skill scroll, a lucky magical potion after that, 2 brilliant intermediate skill scrolls for the 4th round. As for the 5th round, no one knew what the reward was, as no one had ever reached it. I know I've been talking too much, and you all know what's about to happen next. So let's skip ahead to the action. The 1st round, I'm sorry to say, was not Lin's match, but featured a male challenger, a 34-level sword and shield knight. His opponent was also a sword and shield knight, but 5 levels higher at level 39. The opponent wore silver armor and a black robe, holding a silver shield. His face bore several scars, and his equipment showed signs of damage. Clearly, he's been in some tough fights. Lin could tell this guy was from the military, as his demeanor showed that he'd been through numerous life and death battles on the Yuan battlefield. Lin was absolutely right. Tao Tao explained that the challenge matches were notoriously difficult, not only due to the level disparity, but also because the defenders were handpicked from the Empire's military from the hosting nation. As the match started, the challenger was the first to launch an attack, opting to go on the offensive, with a charge skill going straight at his opponent. Confident in his strength, he believed he could knock his opponent off with one hit. However, as their shields collided, the defender not only countered the charge but also instantly executed his own charge, which then sent the challenger flying out of the stage. The shield flew from his hands as he hit the ground. The same thing pretty much happened for the fights after. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th challengers followed, all similarly defeated in under 10 seconds. Then it was Su Sheng's turn. He slowly stepped onto the stage, clenching his fists. He had lost to Lin twice in 2 days, and was determined not to lose to anyone else as he sought to reclaim his honor. His opponent was a 34-level sword and shield knight. As the battle commenced, the arena was enveloped in a pure white light. Su Sheng did not underestimate his opponent, and started with full force using his holy light skill. Simultaneously, the knight launched an attack, using 2 skills at once. He first executed limitless defense, and then used charge skill to close in distance. Su Sheng remained calm and deployed the holy light ring as the knight approached. The aura exploded, pushing the knight back several meters. However, the knight landed smoothly and swiftly swung his sword down at Su Sheng in a flash strike. Su Sheng, slightly surprised, quickly deployed the holy light shield, blocking the attack. The two were now in a deadlock, exchanging skills, and now it became a test of their stamina and mana. Su Sheng was confident that the knight's limitless defense could not outlast his holy light shield. They continuously exchanged attacks. Ultimately, the knight's skill expired sooner, and he lost. Su Sheng, breathing heavily, listened as the referee declared his victory. The audience was thrilled, witnessing a challenging match unlike any in previous years. Typically, the competition was hosted in different nations every few years, and the challenge match could be a hit or miss depending on how powerful each nation was. But this year's challenge was exceptionally exciting and clearly more difficult. After hundreds of challengers, only Su Sheng emerged victorious. Despite his success, Su Sheng wasn't entirely pleased. The battle had been too close for comfort. His shield had nearly shattered, and a few more seconds might have swung the outcome in his opponent's favor. However, he still managed to grab a win. He knew this was his limit. Clutching his reward, Su Sheng stepped down from the stage, however. At the same time, he glanced toward Lin. Although he had lost to Lin twice, his competitive spirit was still high. Boy, you just never learn, do you? Soon, it was Lin's turn to compete. As he stepped onto the stage, the cheers from the stands were deafening. Some speculated that if Su Sheng could pass the first round, perhaps Lin could conquer the second. Quickly, another voice countered, predicting that Lin would break records, possibly beating the fourth round, or maybe even fifth. The entire spectator area became a cacophony of noise, with everyone arguing with each other. Lin's opponent was a level 32 mage who, upon noticing the badge on Lin's chest, immediately recognized him as a lieutenant. Respectfully, the mage placed one hand on his chest and bowed deeply to Lin. This move immediately caused a huge stir. Many began to speculate whether Lin was also part of the military. However, sharp-eyed observers realized this was not the case. The reason for the salute was Lin's high military rank. Everyone entering the Yuan battlefield knew that military ranks were not exclusive to military personnel. Anyone who entered had a rank. At level 27, Lin had already become a 3-star lieutenant, and it dawned on many that his strength might stem from his countless battles with demons on the Yuan battlefield. Anyway, the match soon began, with the defender casting spells first. In an instant, he raised his staff and several fireballs flew towards Lin. Lin raised his hands, summoning several skeletons. The skeletal warriors bravely met the fireballs, its greatsword slashing through them in midair. Then, dashing forward, the skeleton charged at the defender. The experienced mage quickly deployed a magic barrier, blocking not only the skeletal warrior's strike, but also the bolts of lightning cast by skeletal mages. The mage was momentarily startled by just how powerful the lightning was, and after several attacks, the magical shield cracked and shattered. Reacting swiftly, the mage leaped back. As the skeletal warriors followed him closely, he then cast a ring of fire, pushing the skeleton back several meters, allowing him to shield himself with another magic barrier, skillfully managing the cooldowns of his abilities to avoid any hits and keep the skeletons at bay. Lin knew this dude actually knew what he was doing. Lin then summoned more skeletal warriors which charged at the defender. However, the mage's mana was nearly depleted, leaving no room for further delay. Following this, he raised a hand, and several rings of light appeared as he cast spells swiftly. A pentagram emerged on the ground. Seeing this, it was Lin's first encounter with this skill. From the audience, we learned that this was a battlefield skill exclusive to military personnel, usable in conjunction with a battlefield gear set. These skills are notoriously difficult to master, and not everyone in the military can use them. Not only that, but each profession possesses unique battlefield abilities, some of which even require multiple people to execute simultaneously. Back onto the stage, the mage thumped his staff heavily on the ground. Soon, flames erupted in front of him, shooting up into the sky, perfectly striking the two skeletal warriors charging towards him. The skeletons were instantly knocked into the air and controlled, the flames continuously scorching them. Lin was intrigued. He had not expected such an interesting skill with strong AoE damage, crowd control, and DOT damage. Lin then summoned several skeleton mages and warriors again. By now, the defender was gasping for breath. He looked at Lin with a wry smile and said, "Lieutenant, you really don't leave any room for hope, do you?" However, he didn't give up. As the fight went on, lightning from the skeletal mages struck down from the sky. The mage quickly encased himself in another magic barrier, but this time, his mana was completely drained. When the shield shattered, he was struck by a skeletal warrior and sent flying out of the stage. Lin had instructed the skeletal warriors to go soft on the strike, so the mage wasn't injured. The first round went as everyone expected. Although the mage was strong, even after mastering a battlefield skill, Lin was still stronger. Su Sheng already knew the outcome, yet he looked at Lin with an unyielding gaze, not ready to admit defeat. "Boy, I wonder what happens after you see Lin pass the 5th round." The referee asked Lin if he wanted to continue the challenge, and Lin nodded affirmatively. The next round quickly began, and he was now facing a level 37 professional. A sword and shield knight walked onto the stage. Having witnessed Lin's earlier matches, he didn't underestimate, and he was now facing a level 37 professional. A sword and shield knight walked onto the stage. Having witnessed Lin's earlier matches, he didn't underestimate him despite the level advantage. He also knew that the best strategy against a summoner was to target the summoner directly. As soon as the match started, he used charge skill to close the distance, hoping to land a combination of blows on Lin before he could summon his skeletons. However, he underestimated Lin's summoning speed. Almost instantly, a skeletal warrior appeared in front of Lin, raising its huge sword to strike at the knight, who managed to block with his shield but was shaken by the impact. The knight was shocked by the strength of the skeleton and realized he had missed his best chance to approach Lin. Now, he had to outsmart him. But as he prepared for another tactic, a second skeletal warrior charged at him. He didn't panic and used shield bash, stunning the two skeletal warriors on the spot, and then used charge skill to knock them away. Quickly, he rushed again towards Lin. The knight understood he shouldn't waste time going head-on with the skeletal warriors. Seeing the opening, alongside this unexpected charge skill he thought would surely catch Lin off guard. Turned out, he couldn't be more wrong. He saw a slight smile on Lin's face, which sent a chill through his body. He knew he messed up. The next second, the two skeleton warriors he had knocked away suddenly vanished, and the next moment, even more skeletal warriors surrounded him.
300 years ago, the will of heaven